Everyone thinks they know Rick Harrison, the cheerful guy from Pawn Stars who's always talking about history with a big grin. Think twice. What the FBI found inside his mansion isn't just surprising, it could destroy everything you believed about him. This isn't a tale of rare coins or old treasures. It's about a secret Rick buried for years, a secret so dark it's hard to believe. Want the real story? Stay with us, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because what's coming will flip your view of Rick Harrison upside down. Rick Harrison, the man who built a fortune trading antiques, is now trapped in one of the most terrifying investigations ever seen. His pawn shop made him famous, a guy who seemed to have it all: money, stardom, and a perfect life. But the FBI stepped in, looking into his business, and what they uncovered wasn't anything like they expected. It began with a simple check on his finances, maybe hunting for tricky deals or hidden cash. But when agents walked into his massive mansion, they didn't find stolen goods or shady papers. They found something horrifying: 25 bodies stashed everywhere, some in locked rooms, others buried in the garden, more hidden in shadowy corners. Rick Harrison, the TV star who charmed millions, is now tied to something unthinkable. Could he be a killer? How did this happen? How could a guy obsessed with old artifacts end up in such a chilling mess? To get answers, we need to look beyond the mansion and ask, who is Rick Harrison really? What's he hiding behind that friendly smile? To his fans, Rick seemed like the last person who'd do anything so awful. People loved him on Pawn Stars, where he made deals, told jokes, and shared facts about every item. He wasn't just a shop owner, he was a millionaire who lived the American dream, turning his love for history into a global name. But the cameras didn't catch everything. Behind the scenes, something sinister was brewing, something nobody noticed. Rumors started swirling about Rick, quiet hints of a man far different from the one on TV. When the FBI began digging deeper, they found clues that led to a nightmare nobody saw coming. The pawn shop wasn't just a business, it was a front for something much scarier. As agents kept searching, they uncovered a tangle of secrets, linking Rick to crimes way bigger than shady deals. His mansion, once a sign of his success, turned into the heart of a terrifying discovery. Those 25 bodies weren't random. They were part of a careful, hidden plan, kept secret for years right in front of everyone. The deeper the FBI went, the worse it got. They found signs that Rick's pawn shop was tied to dangerous people, criminals dealing in illegal stuff. What started as a money check became a full-on horror show. Agents realized Rick wasn't just trading antiques. He was caught in an underground world nobody guessed existed. The mansion, with its fancy rooms and high walls, wasn't just a home. It was a place where awful things happened. Those bodies? Not accidents. They were victims of a cold, planned-out scheme, and Rick was right at the center. How could someone so well-known, with millions of fans, hide something this terrible? How could he laugh on camera while living such a dark life? The answer lies in how clever Rick was. He built an image that fooled the world. A smart, funny guy who loved old stuff. But behind that face was a man who planned every move, keeping his secrets tightly locked. As the investigation grew, the truth stunned the nation. This wasn't just a crime, it was a tragedy that shattered trust in someone everyone thought they knew. Rick Harrison wasn't the Pawn Stars star anymore. He was a monster hiding in clear sight. As more details came out, Rick's life fell apart. The FBI found clues connecting him to missing people, unsolved cases, and a crime network that reached far beyond Las Vegas. Each discovery made things look darker. Rick wasn't just a shop owner, he was a master of deception, using his fame to cover his tracks. The bodies in his mansion weren't a mistake. They were proof of a life nobody could have imagined. Friends, family, even his closest workers had no idea what he was up to. Or did they? That question still hangs heavy. Let's step back to see how this all began. Rick Harrison wasn't always a big name. Born in 1965, he grew up in North Carolina, far from the bright lights of Las Vegas. His family didn't deal in antiques, they were just everyday folks. But when Rick moved to Vegas as a young guy, everything shifted. That city, full of huge dreams and tough risks, wasn't easy for a man with nothing. Still, Rick had a quick mind and a gift for seeing value in things others ignored. As a teenager, he started working in pawn shops, learning the trade and dreaming of something greater. Rick didn't want an ordinary pawn shop. He wanted something special. He loved history and saw treasure in old things, coins, paintings, letters, anything with a past. His little shop in downtown Las Vegas began to draw attention. People came to sell stuff, but they stayed to hear Rick talk about history. He wasn't just a seller, he was an expert who could spot a diamond in a pile of junk. His passion earned him a name, and soon, his shop was a hotspot for collectors and deal makers. Rick's big break came in 2009 when TV producers saw his shop and thought it could be a show. That show was Pawn Stars, and it changed everything. Pawn Stars wasn't just popular, it was a massive hit. Millions watched Rick, his dad Richard, nicknamed Old Man, his son Corey, and their buddy Chumley buy and sell neat stuff. The show wasn't only about deals, it was about the people. Rick's humor, his calm way of handling things, and his deep knowledge made him a fan favorite. People loved how he could explain the story behind an old gun or a worn-out book. The shop became a landmark, and Rick became a millionaire. Pawn Stars wasn't just a show, it was a brand, and Rick was its heart. But fame always has a dark side, and Rick's was way darker than anyone thought. As the show grew, so did the pressure. Rick wasn't just a shop owner anymore, he was a celebrity. Every choice was watched, every deal judged. The world saw a guy who had it all, but behind closed doors, things weren't so perfect. Some workers started whispering, saying Rick wasn't the nice guy he appeared to be. There were hints of odd deals, arguments, maybe even secrets. Nobody took it seriously at first, just gossip, right? But then a quiet tip reached the FBI, a warning that something was off. That small clue cracked open a truth nobody was prepared for. At first, the FBI thought they were chasing money problems, maybe some dodged taxes or sneaky sales. They looked at the pawn shop's records and found holes, strange payments, missing papers. It seemed like a minor crime, something they could sort out fast. But the deeper they dug, the weirder it got. They heard stories about Rick meeting with shady people, folks tied to illegal trades. The pawn shop wasn't just selling old things, it was moving stuff that shouldn't be there, like artifacts stolen from museums. The FBI started watching Rick's mansion, thinking they'd find cash or stolen items. What they found was a nightmare. The raid on Rick's mansion wasn't what the FBI expected. They thought they'd grab some documents, maybe a few illegal things. Instead, they found a house full of secrets, hidden rooms, locked doors, and a smell that made them sick. In one dark basement, they found the first body, too old to identify, wrapped in cloth. Then another, and another. By the time they finished, there were 25 bodies hidden in walls, under floors, even in Rick's own office. This wasn't a money crime anymore, it was one of the worst cases the FBI had ever faced. As agents searched deeper, the mansion revealed a chilling story. Every room held a secret, closets with bones, dirt patches in the yard, spaces nobody knew existed. Some bodies were old, crumbling apart. Others were newer, preserved in eerie ways. It wasn't random. Someone planned this, placed each body with care. The FBI realized Rick wasn't just hiding things, he was living with them. He walked past these secrets every day, smiling for the cameras while his house held a graveyard. Who were these people? Why were they there? The answers were worse than anyone imagined. The FBI kept digging, and the truth got uglier. Some victims were linked to Rick's business. People who worked with him maybe knew too much. Others were strangers, caught in something bigger. The causes of death were different. Some beaten, some stabbed, some poisoned. But one thing was clear, these weren't accidents. Someone picked these people, ended their lives, and hid them carefully. The mansion wasn't just a home, it was a trap, and Rick was the one in charge. But why? Was it money, power, or something even scarier? As the investigation grew, the FBI saw Rick differently. He wasn't just a shop owner caught in trouble. He was a man with two lives. On TV, he was funny and smart, guy you'd trust with your family heirlooms. In private, he was tied to criminals, smugglers, thieves, even worse. The pawn shop wasn't only a store, it was a cover, a way to move money and hide deals. The FBI found messages on Rick's phone, secret talks with dangerous people. He wasn't just part of their world, he was leading it, making choices, maybe even deciding who lived and who didn't. The victims weren't random either. Some crossed Rick in deals, others got too close to his secrets. The FBI found proof he watched them, kept notes, even took things from them, rings, photos, clothes. It was like he was collecting pieces of their lives, keeping them as trophies. In one hidden room, they found a stash of these things, mixed with old antiques. It wasn't just a crime, it was personal, like Rick took pleasure in it. The more they learned, the clearer it became. Rick Harrison wasn't a victim. He was the one pulling the strings, building an empire on lies and blood. When the news broke, the world was stunned. Rick Harrison, the Pawn Stars guy, a killer? Fans who loved him felt crushed. They remembered him joking on TV, sharing history, seeming so normal. But the evidence stacked up. Bodies, messages, witnesses who said Rick wasn't what he seemed. The pawn shop, once a busy spot, turned empty. People who trusted Rick with their valuables now stayed away. Pawn Stars collapsed, canceled as fans walked away. The show that made Rick a star was now a reminder of his deception. Rick's family was hit hard too. His son Corey, who worked with him for years, said he had no clue. He looked shocked, angry, hurt, telling reporters he felt betrayed, but people wondered, how could he miss it? Rick's wife stayed silent, hiding from cameras while the public asked tough questions. Did they overlook the signs or did they choose not to see? The family that starred together on TV was now breaking apart, caught in a storm they couldn't escape. Friends and workers spoke out, some saying they always sensed something wrong, others swearing Rick tricked them all. The trial was a spectacle. Reporters filled the courtroom, watching every moment. The FBI had a ton of proof. DNA, those eerie messages, even Rick's own notes. His lawyers fought hard, saying he was framed, that someone else hid the bodies. They questioned witnesses, tried to poke holes in the evidence, but it wasn't enough. When Rick took the stand, he looked worn out, not like the confident guy from TV. He admitted to some shady deals but swore he didn't kill anyone. The prosecutors grilled him, showing how his story fell apart. By the end, nobody bought it. The jury took days to decide, but the verdict was firm: guilty. Rick Harrison was convicted of murder and running a criminal network. The judge gave him life in prison, no parole, calling his crimes cold and cruel. As Rick was led away, his family sat still, his son Corey staring like he'd lost it all. The man who had everything, money, fame, a hit show, was gone, locked away forever. The cameras that loved him turned off. The empire he built crumbled to nothing. For Rick, it was over. But it wasn't just about Rick. The victims' families faced pain nobody could heal. They heard awful details in court, things that would haunt them forever. The pawn shop, once a fun place, was now a dark memory. Pawn Stars was finished, its cast left to deal with the fallout. Corey tried to move forward, but the questions followed him. Rick's wife hid from the world, carrying the weight of a life broken. The public kept talking, posting online, debating how someone so famous could hide something so evil. This story isn't just about a TV star's downfall. It's about what fame can conceal, how power can twist a person. Rick Harrison seemed like a dream come true, a guy who made it big with hard work and brains. But behind that dream was a nightmare, one that hurt so many. The pawn shop is quiet now, the show is gone, and Rick's name is tied to crime, not treasure. What do you think about Rick Harrison's fall? Leave a comment, and if you want more shocking stories, like, share, and subscribe. We'll keep bringing you the truth behind the spotlight.